Welcome to this lesson, everybody, on the prevention of disease in modern Britain. In today's lesson, what we're going to do is we're going to investigate how diseases have been prevented by the actions of the UK government in the 20th century, particularly the second half of the 20th century. Your first job is to turn to your knowledge organiser at the front of your booklet. And you need to highlight or tick the following key words on your knowledge organiser. So let's start with preventions. You need to tick or highlight box 1, mass immunisation, box 3, legislation, and box 4, lifestyle campaigns. You then need to highlight or tick box 1 in factors, which is the government. And then you need to know about 3 key dates. In box 14, you need to know about the 2 Clean Air Acts that were introduced to improve air quality. And you need to tick box 17, which is the Health Act, which bans smoking in the workplace. Highlight or tick these keywords now. Now, since 1900, the UK government has taken much more action to prevent disease, much more than it ever has done before. So the question is, why has it done this in the 20th century? One main reason is because in the 20th century, there has been a greater understanding of what causes disease. So we know a lot more about things like microbes or germs, lifestyle factors, and the influence of genetics with the use of DNA. And that has meant the government has taken more action to prevent disease because they understand what causes it. The second reason is because there's been proof before 1900 and throughout the 20th century that government action works. So, smallpox vaccinations were introduced in the 19th century, as were various public health laws, and these proved to be a success in preventing disease. These 2 factors are why much more action was taken since 1900. After 1900 specifically, the government took action to deal with 3 major public health dangers. Firstly, they wanted to tackle infectious diseases. These diseases were deadly, like diphtheria and polio, that were still killing thousands. You can see a picture here of President Roosevelt, who you'll meet in your Cold War topic. He was the US president who was wheelchair bound because he contracted polio. The government also took action to deal with air pollution. Especially in the early 1950s and early 1960s, pollution and smog caused huge health problems in Britain's cities. And then lastly, the government has taken action to deal with unhealthy lifestyles. Because many people have been at risk of poor health because of their lifestyle choices, maybe to do with their diet or their lack of exercise, or the fact that they smoke. So the question is, how has the government taken action? Well, there's really 3 main ways. One is they've embarked upon mass immunisation programs. These are vaccination programs delivered nationally to prevent deadly diseases. Secondly, they've passed legislation or laws, and these prevent behaviour that might be harmful to people's health. And then thirdly, they've introduced positive lifestyle campaigns. And these campaigns, through advertising and media platforms, have communicated the dangers of unhealthy lifestyle choices, and it's hoped that they encourage people to make healthier choices, thus preventing disease. In much more detail, you need to know about 8 various ways that the UK government has done this since 1900. So, you need to investigate how they started to stop diphtheria. Secondly, you need to know about stopping polio. Thirdly, you need to know about vaccinating women. D, you need to know about stopping the smog or the air pollution. E, you need to know about how they prevented passive smoking. F, how did they discourage smoking? G, the Healthy Lifestyle Campaign Stoptober. And lastly, I, how have they encouraged people to eat more healthily? Your first job is to turn in your booklet to these pages. Once you've found them, spend a few moments reading about these 8 priorities. So, stop the video now and read about these 8 priorities in your workbook. Now that you've read those 8 different ways the UK government tries to prevent disease in modern Britain, what we'd like you to do is see how much you can remember. But before we do that, we're going to ask you to complete this quiz, Quiz A, but you can use the information from Information Box 2.8 to help you. So, spend a few minutes finding the answers to these 6 questions, and again, you can use the information in the box to help you do that. Start now. Okay, let's see how you did. Your answer for number 1, what was smog, should be something like this. It's heavy fog caused by air pollution. For answer number 2, you should have said it's diphtheria was the deadly disease the British government was worried might spread in air raid shelters during World War II. Change for Life is a possible answer for number 3. And it's Jonas Salk who developed the first polio vaccine for number 4. You could have said either rubella or HPV for number 5. And you could have said Stoptober for number 6. What we'd like you to do now is turn to Quiz B. That quiz is upside down in your workbook, so turn your workbook upside down so you can see the questions. They should look like this. This time we want you to answer these questions without the information box. So that's why your booklet is upside down. You cannot see the answers easily, and now from memory can you answer these 6 questions? And we're doing this to check your understanding. So stop the video and try and answer these 6 questions from memory now. Okay, let's see how we did. So number 1, you should have written a vaccine for polio. Number 2, you should have said a healthy eating campaign. Number 3 is smog. Number 4 is a government campaign to help people stop smoking. Number 5 is because rubella can damage unborn children. And number 6, because the British government thought diphtheria would spread in air raid shelters. Give yourself a mark out of 6 before moving on. Your final task is to record specific examples of government action. You now need to turn to this table, which is task 2.10. And you can see the 3 column headings there above. Let's give you an example of what we're looking for. One thing I might put in the mass immunisation column is about the 1942 diphtheria vaccination programme. Notice here that I've followed the instructions closely. So I've included a date, I've included a disease, and I've put one interesting detail. This was the first vaccination programme organised by the national government. Use this model to help you fill out the rest of the table. And remember, follow the instructions carefully so you include the correct information. Once you've done this, then you've completed your lesson on the prevention of disease in modern Britain.